allow me to take you back many years ago, around 2003. There was this letter that I got in the mail, which was promoting this product called TNA Wrestling. I had never heard of TNA Wrestling at that point. I think this was like the first time, and this was around the time that I was really looking for something else other than the WWE. So, on this ad, there was this one gentleman that really caught my eye for some reason. And I can't remember, I think he may have been the X Division champion at the time. But this was around the time that TNA was doing their weekly pay-per-views. So, obviously, being 14 at the time, I could not afford these pay-per-views, so I was unable to watch TNA. A year later, I discovered TNA on Fox Sports Network, and so I was able to keep up with the product. But that same gentleman that I just saw on the ad that caught my eye, I started to take notice. And a year after that, he main evented a pay-per-view called Unbreakable 2005, where he joined two other gentlemen in the ring and had what is considered TNA's best match of all time. Not to mention, one of the gentlemen in that match is in the WWE currently under the NXT brand. This man proved to me that he is exactly what his nickname is. Phenomenal. The guy's name is AJ Styles. At the time that I started to come on to the internet to discuss wrestling, Samoa Joe, who was the other gentleman I was referring to, was the real beloved wrestler because he pretty much exemplified that old school All Japan wrestling style, because one of the big dream matches at that time was Samoa Joe versus Mitsuharu Misawa. Now, we didn't get that in the States. We got we got Joe and Kobashi, but that was the big dream match, and everybody loved Joe for that style that he had. But I was the defender of AJ, because I thought AJ was an exceptional talent that can do anything that you asked him to do. If you wanted him to high fly, did you want him to perform some technical wrestling? Did you want him to perform anything? Brawling, whatever it was. I'm not able to find the right words at the moment, but AJ just was that exceptional talent that nobody seems, or at that time, nobody seemed to grasp the same way they did with Samoa Joe. Maybe it's just my personal experience, but I digress. He was, without a doubt, a phenomenal wrestler. So much so that when some of my friends would start watching TNA later on, and when he won the TNA World Title in 2009, they started to notice how good he really was. Now, keep in mind, I started to fall out of the loop of TNA from 2008. I got back into it a little bit in 2009 and early 2010 until Hogan and Bischoff took over, but my TNA fandom had pretty much died from there. I then hear that AJ Styles had left TNA. Now, before I continue, back in the day, when I played the SmackDown video games, I always created AJ Styles in those games, because I always envisioned what would happen if AJ Styles faced this guy. What if AJ Styles faced that guy? What if AJ Styles faced this guy? I always envisioned that, and the funny thing about the SmackDown games is they always had his preset moveset in there. Even though many times you heard that WWE was never interested in AJ because he was too small, he didn't have the right look, whatever, they never thought he could draw. But for some reason, they found him important enough to put in their video game. Now, I don't know if that's WWE's call or if that's THQ's call, but suffice to say, he always had his preset moveset in the game, and it was always interesting to have AJ Styles in the game created to where you can have him face whoever it is you wanted him to face in the WWE. And so for years, I always dreamt of certain matches that AJ Styles would have with people. Now, around early 2016, there were rumors of AJ Styles signing with WWE. I didn't think it was possible because, just again, from the plethora of history of WWE just showing almost no interest in the guy, I just didn't see it happening. And after so many years of wanting AJ Styles there, and plus at this point in time, he's 38, 39 years old, I didn't think it was possible. Lo and behold, Royal Rumble 2016, he made his debut, which I was sitting on this bed that I'm sitting in now to record this video, with my girlfriend watching it on my Kindle, seeing him debut and me going completely nuts to see AJ Styles finally make his debut. Now, in the beginning of his tenure there, he wasn't really pushed all that well. He was given the 50-50 treatment with Chris Jericho, and he lost both pay-per-view main event matches against Roman Reigns. That's a whole other story. But then something interesting happened. On Raw, him and John Cena get into the middle of the ring to tease a match. And it reminded me of a moment that maybe most of you have forgotten. Some of you may remember I had a bunch of videos on this channel that were deleted. Thank you, Rob. But I had even more videos before that situation, which were Q&A videos. I actually did some Q&A videos. And I remember one question, this is going back early 2007, I would say probably between January and March. Maybe it was even before that, I can't remember. It was a long time ago, it was almost 10 years ago. There was a video that I had made where somebody asked me the question, who would win in a match between AJ Styles and John Cena? And I remember being the punk kid, 17, 18 years old, saying, oh yeah, AJ Styles would destroy him because I was such an AJ mark. Seeing that 10 years later, them building up to a big match, was very interesting. Having said that, their first match was what it was, but their SummerSlam match was very telling in where WWE's direction is going. For years, Cena's been their poster boy. Cena has been the guy that they want as this unstoppable babyface that you can't put down, no matter how hard you try. There have been guys that have beaten him, but who would have thought that one person on that list would be AJ Styles? AJ Styles can say that he beat John Cena cleanly. Not even CM Punk can say that. To think that three guys in particular, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, three guys synonymous with independent wrestling, beat John Cena cleanly. Very interesting indeed. And now tonight, well, I don't know when this video is being uploaded, maybe yesterday, AJ Styles did the unthinkable. That nobody ever thought in their wildest dreams would ever happen, even when he signed. And that is become WWE Champion. I'm making this video to reflect on the fact that people, they may realize this, but maybe some people don't, and they need to. AJ Styles is possibly one of the greatest wrestlers of this generation. We talk about how, like, past generations, okay, Ric Flair was the greatest in his generation, then Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart was the greatest after that. I think preceding the Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. I mean, many people will point to Hiroshi Tanahashi or Kazuchika Okada, if I'm pronouncing that right. But I think it's very hard to debate AJ Styles as one of the... against that AJ Styles is one of the greatest wrestlers of this generation. It's impossible to debate against that, because not just from an in-ring standpoint, but just how much this guy was able to accomplish enough to convince the man that was vehemently against bringing him in because he wasn't a draw. Now, this could be a Triple H thing, who knows, but suffice to say that AJ Styles is, without a doubt, especially after Backlash, winning the WWE title, he is, without a doubt, one of the greatest wrestlers of our generation. To transition from TNA to ROH to New Japan, WWE, and be able to accomplish all of the world titles with the exception of Ring of Honor, it's quite a feat. It's quite a feat indeed. Has had a plethora of Match of the Year candidates, plethora of 4+ star matches, plethora of titles. I mean, after his run in New Japan, the only place he had left to go was the WWE, and he made it. And within 8 months, he became WWE champion and beat John Cena twice, one time being cleanly. This guy is a special talent, and I think when he's gone, we're going to look back and say to ourselves, AJ Styles is one of the best of all time. Without a doubt. This is not really a coherent video. This is just me reflecting on my history of AJ Styles and realizing how important AJ Styles is to the wrestling industry. And I think people who don't realize that should realize that AJ Styles is, without a doubt, one of the greatest. And he could be one of those guys that we could say, what would have happened if AJ Styles faced, I don't know, Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart type of guy. But he is definitely on that list. And I think many people should take note, especially after Backlash and after SummerSlam. We are witnessing the prime of a guy, despite the fact that he's near 40, showing why he is exactly what he calls himself. Phenomenal.